We come to dedicate this sacred ground, sacred to all of us. We come to dedicate this ground to the men and women who wear the badge. We come to dedicate this ground to the families who have lost loved ones that we come to remember. We come to dedicate this ground to those who have served and have given their lives, that we might have the freedom and safety today as we stand here. And may we come knowing that we shall never forget those who have been called to your heavenly home. We come very thankful that we have this opportunity. And we ask a blessing upon these sacred grounds, that you will watch over this memorial, protect it, and keep it safe. And we do this in the name of our Lord of Lords, our King of Kings, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Gene. Thank you very much for coming here to help dedicate this site to the men and women of law enforcement of the Pikes Peak region. We have several people here today that we'd like to recognize just for attendance. We have our city council persons here, all of them. We have our Board of County Commissioners here. We have our representatives from the city. And I'm very thankful for all of our representatives of the law enforcement group from the Pikes Peak region. This site is dedicated to the men and women of the region's law enforcement who gave their lives in defense of the community and to their families as a place of remembrance and pride. Before I get all wordy with my prepared speech, I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to a few groups of people. First, this $1.6 million project would not have been possible without the generosity and support of hundreds of people. Large donations, small donations, fundraising, in-kind, and individual paver sales all contributed to the successful funding of this project. But I would like to especially thank some of our large donors for their generosity and belief that we could get this job done. As you entered the site, you may have noticed the bronze plaque recognizing the Norris family, specifically Robert C. Norris and Jane Norris, for their $500,000 donation to get this complete. Mr. Norris and his family are here today. I'd like to thank them very much. Special thanks to Bob and Leslie Pincus and Bobby Norris for their support. Thank you all so very much. I would also like to thank the El Pomar Foundation for their matching challenge grant, and thank individually Kyle Hibble, Matt Carpenter, and Nicole Magic Soto, who's here today, and the board for their support. Next, Mr. Greg Ireton for his generosity not only for this project, but supporting the law enforcement community here in the region as well. A number of additional supporters included Mr. and Mrs. Lee and Mickey Bolin, Dr. and Andy and Mrs. Debbie Kane, Mr. Dave Jenkins and the Norwood Foundation, Mrs. Barb Winter and Ent Credit Union. Thank you all very much for your support. I'd also like to thank the citizens of Colorado Springs and the region. Their continued support and trust is why we continue to do the jobs entrusted of us. And I would be remiss if I did not thank all the region's law enforcement agency leaders for their commitment and support over the last 4 years in seeing this project through. Thank you all very much. I would also like to, at this time, offer CSPD Police Chief Pete Carey's apologies for not being here today. He is in Washington, D.C. with the Honor Guard, who competed yesterday in their first national drill competition. And in case you haven't heard, I am excited to announce they placed second amongst 14 national teams. Fantastic job. He truly wanted to be here today. And now I would like to thank very much GE Johnson for their commitment, expertise, and unyielding attention to detail, along with all of their subcontractors for bringing this wonderful project to life. Their project management team and all the men and women who put their energy and skills into this memorial. Tom, Rachel, Jay, Randy, and all the guys out there working every day without one complaint, we can never thank you enough. Please stand. I know you're here. Yeah, you're back there. Thank you. Next, and most of all, to the families of the fallen. I do not have the words to express the gratitude we have for you, the sacrifice made by you, and I would like to say, this is for you. I've had a quote from President Theodore Roosevelt hanging in my office for several years. It reminds me constantly of the hard work and devotion to a cause that it takes to successfully complete a project. It also reminds me that it is through great followership, not leadership, that great things are achieved. The quote reads, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbled, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those timid souls who neither know victory or defeat." Four years, right here in 20 minutes. All right. For the last 4.5 years, I have stood with the most dedicated and devoted group of people I have ever had the pleasure of working with. They have been marred by dust, sweat, and blood, and kept right on going. They have strived valiantly with great enthusiasm toward a common goal. And the motto, "Let's get this thing done," they now know the triumph of high achievement. I can never thank them enough for their support, effort, and commitment every step of the way of this worthy cause. Would the members of the Pikes Peak Region Peace Officers Memorial Committee please stand and be recognized? There we go. Thank you all very much. They, of course, are more than committee members. I am honored to call each and every one of them my friend. Lastly, I'd like to thank my wife and committee member Kim, she's here, for putting up with a lot of crap over the last 4 years. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a moment to tell you about this memorial. The vision began in 2005 with the goal of constructing a memorial honoring the sacrifices of the region's law enforcement officers who gave their lives defending it. There have been 3 renditions or concepts for construction over the past 13 years. The third is what you stand on today. It was designed with great intention. The region's geology, history, and landmarks have all been incorporated in its construction. From the alignment of the Walk of Honor to the top of Pikes Peak, to the 20,000-pound granite base the lion rests upon, granite similar to that of Pikes Peak itself, to the recognition of the 150 years of policing on the east wall. These things set a foundation of what the memorial represents. The foundation here is strong, like the men and women whose names are forever etched in it. The Lion of Lucerne is the symbol of sacrifice that was chosen to honor the region's fallen officers. The Lion of Lucerne was carved from the face of a sandstone cliff in Switzerland, commemorating the sacrifice made by the Swiss Guard in defense of the King of France against Napoleon's revolution. Mark Twain said of the lion, "His size is colossal, his attitude is noble. His head is bowed with a broken spear sticking from his shoulder. His protecting paw rests upon the lilies of France. It is the most mournful and moving piece of stone in the world." Our lion here was sculpted by local artist by the name of Larry Terrafranca. He is here, and I'd like to recognize him again personally for his devotion to this project. Please stand, Larry. Ann Stone, one of our committee members, found a poem written about the lion by an author from Lucerne that I feel represents not only the feelings about our lion, but its maker. Skilled sculptor's hands fashioned your fallen body, your bleeding wound, eyes closed in pain, that men in ages to come might stand before you and sense beneath the cold stone a brave heart, not judging the cause for which it was stilled, yet aware that on some fateful day, for every man there is duty, there is honor, and there may be death, for even the brave or even the strong. Our fallen lion also represents sacrifice. He is noble, courageous, and strong. He too has his paw resting on the granite foundation in defense of the region. He is representative of all law enforcement in the region, federal, state, local, and military. His gaze fixed on the eastern wall where 22 bronze shields identify the region's law enforcement agencies. The 2 military law enforcement units, the United States Air Force Security Forces and the United States Army Military Police, are on either side of the vertical blue line. This symbolic gesture unites the Veterans Memorial in kinship just a few yards to our east. The site is surrounded by the protection of the thin blue line, representing the position of law enforcement in society as the defensive wall between order and anarchy. It is unbroken from the entrance to and surrounding the fallen lion and the officers etched in its base. The blue line itself filled with blue glass and mirror to reflect the natural sunlight, and at night reflect the blue LED light so that it forever shines. The Walk of Honor moves straight to the plaza here and is our formal walkway to the monument. It is paved with over 2,000 stones, some bearing the inscriptions of remembrance, pride, and love. The curving walkway that slowly moves along the walls is meant to be a contemplative walk with landmarks along the way. At the entrance are welcome and thank you plaques. As you walk, you move through the Walk of Honor and up to the agency plaques, the walk lined with the trees and vegetations of white and blue. As you continue, you pass the flags flown at perpetual half-mast in honor of the fallen. And finally, you reach the podium surrounded by the thin blue line. Within the circle, a granite base containing the names of 32 fallen officers, their agency, and the date they made the ultimate sacrifice. On the front, facing you all, a message to the community they served, a community they protected, a community they loved. I have been where you fear to be. I have seen what you fear to see. I have done what you fear to do. All these things I have done for you. I truly believe this memorial meets and exceeds the goal and the expectation of the original 2005 expectations. A place of remembrance to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice in defense of their community. The completion of this memorial brings solace to me, as I have often wondered how I managed the opportunity to lead it. I've always been a believer in things happen for a reason, and in some small part, daily signs which inspire us to continue the mission. For 4 years ago, almost to the day, I stood in front of a group of 399 to be exact, and proclaimed a motto, "Let's get this thing done." Well, as you can see, we got it done. There have been a few, what I will call signs, in the past few weeks that I have taken as approval from, let's say, above. On Friday, April 27th, we conducted a light test on the site. Large number of committee members had not seen the site up to that point, and I asked them to attend. Many did. As we milled about, the Veterans Memorial, our neighbor, began playing taps. It was pretty cool. Coincidence? Maybe. On Saturday morning, April 28th, I met with the Memorials Company and a few committee members to discuss the font size on the granite base for our fallen officers' names. While here, a bald eagle appeared and literally flew over the site for over an hour. Kind of hoping he shows up today. It was amazing. Many locals have indicated they have never seen a bald eagle in Colorado Springs. So now, a little freaky. When the lion was set on its base on Thursday, May 3rd, it was cold, overcast, and rainy day. Fitting for our lion and its purpose, don't you think? However, when the trailer containing the lion arrived, the rain stopped. The clouds became less present, and the sun shone down. I would like to think those we honor here today appreciate and approve of this place. I also believe we are the product of our experiences and how those experiences shape us and the lives we choose to live. Our memories exist as moments in time and reveal themselves in mysterious ways, forcing us to relive or remember, but also fulfill a purpose. There have been two memories or moments that have driven me during this endeavor. They have always been at the forefront of my commitment and passion to get this done. One is full of happiness and joy, one of sadness and tragedy. Until today, neither has been shared. The first is it hot out here? The first is from December 19th, 2002, in the home of Jeff Jensen, a classmate and career-long friend. The occasion, an academy class graduation party for his brother Jared. Family and friends gathered at this graduation party to express pride and congratulations to one of the newest CSPD officers. During the party, I had the opportunity to tell Jared a story, a moment in the professional career of his brother Jeff. It involved a rolling gun, a story we will save for another time, but with a strong point of conveying what a wonderful career Jared was about to embark on and remember all the good times. That was a great moment. The second moment was in Memorial Hospital ICU trauma ward on February 22nd, 2006. Jared, lying in a bed, surrounded by family and friends saying their last goodbyes after he was fatally shot just a few hundred yards to the west of this location. That was not a good day. These moments, surfacing when most needed, drove the commitment and passion to complete this beautiful but hallowed place for Jared and the 31 other heroes on the granite base. Their sacrifice will never be forgotten, not just by those that knew them, but anyone from anywhere who visits this site and sees their name. They may ask how, they may ask what, but there is no denying this place clearly conveys the why. President Abraham Lincoln once said, "Be sure to put your feet in the right place and then stand firm." These officers chose to stand firm. They put their feet in the right place at the right time, holding the line against evil, and their sacrifice will never be forgotten. I would like to conclude today with a prayer written by Chuck Bowman, a Milwaukee, Wisconsin police chaplain, entitled, "Only a Moment." As I conclude, taps will be played by Colorado Army National Guard Staff Sergeant Sean Heading. Only a Moment is dedicated to those who lost their lives in the line of duty. Dear Lord, it was only a moment, but in that moment of madness, our world changed. In that moment, countless lives were changed, hearts were broken, and names previously unknown are now spoken with reverence. In only a moment, the line of blue stretching out across our nation was broken. That hard, fast, steady line was breached. In moments like these, all citizens become part of the line of blue. Momentarily, we feel defenseless, but only for a moment. In only a moment, the line of blue reforms, drawing a circle around us to restore our hope. Our tears dry, our broken hearts are comforted, weak knees strengthened, and sanity restored. The line of blue, our shield of protection, still stands. The moment passes, but in that moment we mourn the life that was taken and grieve for the survivors, remembering the sacrifice made to protect and serve. It was only a moment, but they are gone. A sacrifice made to give us a future. We pause in our sorrow, reflecting what might have been, but then we press on, for by the grace of God, the line of blue still stands. Amen. We have provided